Now this is some fine art. Here you have Still by Tony Banks. What is so special about this album? Let me tell you. Because it's the first Tony Banks album that I truly liked. Well, the selection in here it's pretty ingenious and interesting. An album with 10 songs and 5 singers. So what's the deal here? Red Day on Blue Street is the first track I heard of this album and the first one that I liked instantly. Just shout outs to the drummer, Vinny, because he makes everything in this album feel very different to what Tony Banks has done over the years. So shout outs to the drummer. This song keeps adding more keyboard parts. Like at first it's just the chords and then it keeps adding scales and whatnot. It's a pretty song and very, of course, political, but it's a message that's very that applies to everything. It's not outdated, you know. So I like that. And of course the typical sections of Tony Banks. I'm hearing the track right now. It goes like a bit sinister and then it goes happy again. And then it goes back again and then it does a solo. I mean, it's just incredible. Really enjoy it. Now it's the time for Angel Face, you know, the second track over here. Angel Face. And this is one of those tracks where everything gets stripped down a little bit, you know. It's just these powerful dark chords going on and the voice of Fitch. But then the song surprises me with a change that feels kind of happy for me. You broke the spell? That's the hook, you know? But it feels weird because the song is very dark and then it goes into this part that sounds kind of happy. So at first I didn't get it, but now I get it because he's happy because he left this lady that was making his life a bit miserable, you know? But now we get into the gift, and this was probably too much for me, you know? The gift being sung by this man. But now the gift, it's so heavy in the keyboards and sounds and feels so complicated. Everything is like, that's one of the problems with this album in general, I think, that everything feels too cluttered, you know? There's too many instruments and things going on. So that's the thing that picked me up at first, and there is no better example of that than The Gift. But The Gift is a pretty enjoyable song actually, and it's probably the one that I have heard the most after I didn't like it, you know, and now I love it and I would like to play it. But you know, this is a great tune. I struggle to believe that anyone will believe it's single material, but they made a video out of this song. But now let's move on in Still It Takes Me by Surprise. And this is just, it's a very sad song actually. I have been thinking about this song a lot because The Haunted Life, and the start of that song reminds me of Still It Takes Me by Surprise. And this song is mostly pure keyboard and it sounds magnificent, you know. It's a beautiful piano piece that I really love, and the voice complements it really great. There is one thing that I want to mention, that Nick Davis has that spit, you know, that sound where he could remove it, but he keeps it on his mixings for some reason. I don't understand it, and this album has a bit of that. Still It Takes Me by Surprise has one of the best solos in the album, so I recommend you to listen to it. But anyways, let's move on into Hero for an hour. And I feel like I have been talking for an hour. This is the only track where this man over here, look at him. He sings this track, you know? It's the first track in this album that he sings. And I think that's his last time singing one of his own songs. And it's funny. It's one of the funniest songs ever. I felt lost and confused and about to be misused. It's so funny actually. It's a pretty interesting scenario. And the music, I mean, the sound of the keyboard, especially at the end when it fades out, I want to hear more, you know. Now let's move on to the other single. I want to change the score, and it instantly, I think I was surprised to hear this one because I wanted to edit a Tony Banks song, and this is the first one that I did alongside Red Day on Blue Street. And how it starts, but then it becomes very simple, you know, and it tricks you because, oh, this is a simple single. You probably have heard this song. It's the most popular on the album, and Nick Kershaw does an excellent job. But anyways, Water Out of Wine, it starts, but then I think this change, fragrance is so good. I thought that it was in an ad or something, that it was a popular song, you know. It is insane. It's one of the best changes I have heard for a pop song, and I think that that should have been a single. I'm sorry, for some reason it wasn't. Another Murder of a Day, it's the longest song in the album, I think. Yes, it is. And you know, this is like Genesis clashing with Marillion, because it's sung by Fitch, made by Tony Banks, probably made a bit by Fitch. But Another Murder of a Day is so intense, and it talks about a lady that dies or something. I don't know. It has, let me count the amount of sections that it has. Third section in less than 2 minutes. Less than 3 minutes, we're at another section, and it goes into a lovely little solo that I think people will say that's the best solo in the album. It's the shortest solo, but it's the most interesting and tense. And then Fitch sings over the solo, which is a Genesis staple. And there's another section, then goes high again. There is a guitar solo, and the ending. And you know what? It ends with the intro, and I lost the count of sections. So great song. That's probably, for the prog heads, that's the best song in the album. Now back to back, probably the weakest song in the album, and it reminds me of Back to the Future. This is another track that could have been a hit single in the 80s, not in 91. It's too late. I think that Water Out of Wine would have done better as a single. And now, last song is The Final Curtain. And this is a song that I really ignored for the longest time of this album. I really wanted nothing with it. And then suddenly, I started listening to it again and again and again. And I was shocked because it keeps going up. And then it has this weird solo. And I thought that I had stopped the song by then. But it keeps going up. And it ends. And it's the reason why I didn't like this song, because I thought that it sounded too similar to another song. Like, it was too cheesy for me. But now I get it. It feels like the end, you know, because it's called The Final Curtain. However, the final song of his rock career is one of his best, with An Island in the Darkness. So anyways, thank you for watching. I really love this album, as you could tell. Sorry for wasting too much of your time. And listen to it right now. Instead of listening to me, just listen to this incredible album. Thank you for watching, and have a good weekend or week, whatever.